Hi there, this is Bobbi. Today we're going to make this card with the 3 bold pumpkins. We're going to color them up with Copic markers. I am using the pumpkin from the set Happy Thanksgiving. We've got a really nice large pumpkin in here, and you can color any color you want and get very different looks. So this is the card we're shooting for, and we're going to start out with our Bright and Beach White paper. And I've already stamped one pumpkin and cut it out using my brother's Scan and Cut. I've got that off to the side here. So we'll go ahead and we will do 2 more pumpkins. And as you can see, I am just using, I'm stamping the pumpkin slightly off. I don't want it to be quite perfect. And then this one is going to go right in the middle of it. And I'll just turn that a little bit to have a little bit of interest. We'll start out with the green one here. A lot of the markers I'm using today are from our early autumn collection. Really fun colors in this set, and I'm in love with these colors for the fall, so they're a great complementary color set to go with our other Copic collections. And I'm going to start out with a YG95. And I'll put this card over here to the side so you can kind of see what we are going for. And I'm going to pretend that the sun is coming from towards the front, so you're going to see there's highlighting here in the front of the pumpkins as if the sun were heading directly in front of them, on them. And we're going to put a little green in here. I'm starting with my darkest color, and I'm going to also shade up here towards the back where the stem would also be shading parts of the pumpkin, and also a little bit off to the side here as the pumpkin curves. It would get less sun. And then I'm going to go ahead with a YG93, which is in the early autumn collection. The last color, YG95, is actually in our Rustic Pier collection. And I'm going to color in here, going right over the last color and a little bit up. And I'm going to put a little bit around here because these crevices in the pumpkin would naturally shade behind. And then I'm going to go with the YG03, which is in our one of our Pix collections. Now this is quite a much brighter green, as you can see. And again, I'm going over some of the other colors, the darker colors that I had just colored in. And then my last color is Y02, again, another one from one of our Pix collections. And I'm going to go in here and go right over the green with this yellow. And so that's going to be the highlighted area of that pumpkin. And now I want to put a little bit of green right up here on the top using my YG03. Just give that a little bit, and I'm going to put a little more right down in here again. And so that's our first pumpkin. And then for the stem, I'm going to wait and do all the stems at one time. Now we're going to head over here to the pumpkin that's got more autumn tones. I'm going to start with a YR27. This color is in our early autumn collection, and it's called Tuscan Orange. It's really a beautiful warm shade of brown with a cast of red. Whoops, went a little out of the line there. That's not going to matter though, because the other pumpkin is actually going to layer over it. So you don't have to be too careful with staying in the lines when you're on the inside of both of these outer pumpkins, if that makes sense. And again, I'm going to go along these crevices because they would be naturally a little bit darker. And then I'm going to go with a YR24. And again, I'm going to go right over that, coming just slightly up off the pumpkin. And a little bit up here at the top. Again, remembering that my lightest shade is going to be in the center here. I'm going to use a YR12. This is also in the early autumn collection. It's got a little bit more of an orange cast to it, which is very nice. And then our last color is going to be an E00. This is part of our Naturals collection. And these are all available on raisinboat.com. Okay, and as you can see, I'm going over all of the colors with this lightest color now, just blending all those colors in. And I'm liking how that looks. That looks really nice. Now you can see I went out of my lines there. Again, this pumpkin is going to layer right on top, so it's going to cover that up. That was the lucky one for me, right? Okay, YR09, we're going to do this middle pumpkin now. And as you can see, that's got the brightest oranges. We're going to use this Chinese orange, YR09. I love this color. It's very bold and very deep, very rich color. And again, I'm going to shade the areas around the crevices, up here where the stem would be, shading some of this pumpkin, and around the curve of the pumpkin and into those crevices there. And then I'm going to go with the YR68, which is in our Bright Sales collection. This is a great way to start your Copic collection or add to your Copic collection, because these are all the colors that you're seeing on our samples in our idea gallery. And then I'm going to go again with this YR12. I'm going to go in here and color this in a little bit with the brightest color here. Going over all the colors just to blend them a little bit. And I'm going to go back with this YR9. I want to put a little bit up here just to sort of define that a little bit more. And some of that is just to your liking, what you prefer. And because this pumpkin is slightly, it's going to be on the curve here, I'm going to put a little more color in over on this side, because thinking about where the sun would be and how that's going to hit it. And now again, I'm going to go back with this YR12 and blend that a little bit better so it looks more natural. And there you have it. Okay, so now I did notice this one's just a little bit brighter. So again, I'm going to just put a little bit more brighter orange. And that's the beauty of Copics. You can just keep adding and get a little bit stronger, deeper tones. If, you know, to your liking, just keep adding a little bit more. Now, I also like to, when I pop these with a dimensional cushion, I like to go around the edge so that I don't have any white showing. And since this one is going to be popped, I went ahead and did that. Now for the stems, I'm going to use a YR95. Keeping in mind the sun is also hitting these stems in the front. So I'm going to use this darker YR95 to the sides of each of these stems. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to use my YGO3, and I'm going to do just the fronts of those so that they're highlighted. And then right at the top, I'm going to use the YG93, because this would not be highlighted since it's on a different plane, but it would probably be a little bit lighter since it's the inner portion of that stem. Just making that look a little more natural by going over it. Okay, so there's our three. Now I am going to take two cushions, and I'll go out here a little bit and add these to my pumpkin. And put this right on my card. And I'm going to put it a little bit, curving a little bit there. Now the last thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to come back in here again, is I'm going to use my C5, C3, and C1 colors. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to put some shading to sort of create a place for these pumpkins to rest, since they're kind of in the center of this card. And this is just going to make the eyes feel really comfortable with where they're sitting. It creates a nice foundation. Starting with the darkest color, thinking about where that pumpkin is curved and where the shading would be the strongest. Now I'm going to go in with the C3. I'm going to go right over that, extending a little bit further. Filling in any little areas that I'm seeing. And then I'm going to do a C1. And just go over here a little bit to blend that. And I'm going to go in and go on top of all of the darker shades of the seas and just shade that slightly. And last, I am going to add my sentiment, which is thankful this season. I'm going to add this right down here. Okay, and so here's the finished card. So it looks very much like the one that I prepared ahead of time. Now I've got some wine cellar and orange tree cardstock. Again, all the products here that I'm using are available at raisinboat.com. Oh, first of all, I'm going to add a little ribbon. Sorry about that. We'll add the ribbon first to the front. I'm going to move my cards out here so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to cut that down in just a moment here because I just want to get this attached since I've got adhesive on the back. Apply it to my wine cellar cardstock for just a really nice contrast matte. This is a very deep wine color, but it looks really nice, I think, with these colors. And then I'm going to attach this to my orange tree card base. And there you've got your pumpkins for the holidays.